That's music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to the feed. It's Mike and Marty. We're here today with Chris Lundberg, a candidate for Windham 3. But first, we have a lot of local events to go over. Big weekend coming up.
We do. Big weekend coming up.
Marty.
First of all, at the Bellows Falls Opera House this week is Spider-Man. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Don't know what that means. But and the current Spider-Man is Tom Holland, which I've lost track of how many Spider-Mans there have been. That runs from 7:31 until 8:11. So there's a good run on Spider-Man. The classic movie tomorrow night is Nausea of the Valley of the Wind. I believe it's the last in this month.
The anime, right?
The anime month, yeah. So that's the last one. It's sponsored by Village Square Booksellers and Katrina Mayer. So here it is. We have come to Rockingham Old Home Days. And kudos to Casey and Isaac.
Yeah, they put something together, haven't they?
They have, and I'm going to read all of the, I'm going to kind of give you an update on the events, and they've actually managed to kind of make it very much like old home days.
Really.
There's some events on Friday. So on Friday, Isaac Stevenson will be at Seven Balls Brewery from 4 to 6. The BDR building is doing an antique auto show put on by the Hit or Miss Club. That'll be from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And then at 7:30 p.m., the antique cars will do a little car caravan scoop the loop through the square. Mm-hmm. So that's some exciting stuff. The day of actual Old Home Days, the festival day, is Saturday the 1st. From 12 to 9, the Waypoint Center will be open and they'll have festivities. The music schedule is from 12 to 1:30, the Partridge Boswell Gang. From 2 p.m. to 3:30, Patrick Wisdom Sargent. From 4 to 5, Debbie and the Downers. From 5:30 to 7, Intercept. And from 7 to 8, NV19.
Great.
That's what I missed last week. I apologize to MV19 that I forgot the 19. There'll be interactive entertainment also, not 100% confirmed, but there'll be some juggling, hula hoop interactive demos. But what is confirmed is from 4 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, Vermont Armored Combat will be doing a combat demo, and they're always fun.
Great.
Yeah, they're super. Combat demo and battle demonstration. Then at 9:30, the fireworks. And then on Sunday, it'll be the annual Rockingham Meeting House pilgrimage from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. with a reading of the Declaration of Independence at the actual meeting house. So that's some very exciting things Casey and Isaac have pulled together with not a lot of time. They pulled together a good 3-day of events.
Right.
So Fact TV will be at the festival on Saturday. We'll be doing interviews on talking to people on the street and just doing our thing.
Right. Marty and I will be live from 3 to maybe 4, and we'll be interviewing people and taking shots of the bands and doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah,
and
doing
then
what we do.
Another thing to remember is Fact TV's having a silent auction during this whole thing, and they're auctioning off a bass guitar, gift certificates to Pizza Stone, Chow. There's going to be a painting, 5 tickets to the Opera House, and Breadworks. How about
Orchard
that?
Hill
And
Breadworks.
and maybe other stuff by the time we get there.
Awesome. So come down and see us and support Fact TV and support Rockingham Old Home Days. If you want to see it, you got to support it.
All right. Chris, good
Welcome.
to see you.
Hi, Mike.
How you been?
Okay.
I
Thanks
know
for
you're
having me.
nervous, but we're gonna relax and work our way through this thing. First, tell us a little bit about yourself. Sort of where you're from, how you came to Vermont, sort of what you did, and how
Okay.
you got here.
I grew up in New York City and Philadelphia. I went to a Quaker high school and then came to Vermont to go to college and didn't want to leave, so I've been here ever since. Worked in the machine tool industry for a while and then got a job in engineering for a company that produced equipment used in the printed circuit board industry, which was probably the best job I ever had. That allowed me to travel a lot, which I found very interesting. From there, went to work for a company down in Swansea that designed and manufactured air bearings, which were used in scientific instruments and ultra high precision equipment
Oh.
for manufacturing parts that work down to millions of an inch. That was quite interesting. It's a little different technology. Now I'm retired. In the meantime, though, over most of the last 20 some odd years, I've played baseball. This year, I finally got a chance to go compete in Vermont Senior Games.
Oh, really?
And what else? That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, now you do fun things like rebuild old cars, right?
I've been doing that for most of my life, on and off.
But, well, now it's a little more dedicated time,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
That's part-time, very part-time. Usually about 2 days a week, about
Nice.
5 or 6 hours a day, because both of us are retired and we just don't want to work all the time.
What kind of car are you working on?
Well, right now, we just brought in a 1961 Jaguar XKE.
I saw the picture. That's what made me think of it. I
Whoa.
just saw the picture on
Yeah.
Facebook. I'm like, that's got to be cool.
And that one's pretty unusual because it is left-hand drive serial number 14. So it's an exceedingly early car. It's in really good shape, and it's had a number of periodicals have feature articles about
wow.
it. So we're working
cool.
on something that's pretty
It's quite
interesting.
unique. That's
Yeah.
really amazing.
So what made you decide to go this path? You know, you're in retirement, you're doing kind of fun things, and now you're going to potentially take on a big endeavor.
Yes.
What made you
Maybe
want to
not
do
the most
that?
popular job either.
I would say that over the last 15 years or so, I've gotten more political, at least to the point of paying more attention to what goes on a national level. Then, what was it, 4 years ago, Leslie Goldman and Michelle Boslin started having legislators meetings
Oh,
once
yes,
a month. And
yes.
I started immediately going to those because I really wanted to know more about what was going on at the state level. And aside from that, for many years, I've wanted to go up there and spend a couple days to see what goes on and how
Yeah,
things
and how
work.
it works, right?
So all those, then the local Democratic committee has meetings once a month. I've been going to those just to see where do I fit in, what can I do to sort of help. This year, I did get up to Montpelier twice for 2 days and had opportunities to sit in committee meetings and both the House and Senate chambers, see what goes on and how things work. One of the things that I was kind of impressed with was the Democrats and Republicans actually work fairly well together, whereas on the national level, it's a little
No, it's
different.
contentious.
There's still some issues there, but by and large, it doesn't work too badly.
Yes.
What was I going to say? So the legislators' meetings, I was asked early this year if I was interested in running. Leslie had told me she wasn't making it public yet, but she wasn't going to run again. And was I interested? I wasn't particularly interested at the time.
Funny how things go, right?
Yeah. And then over the next couple of months, they asked a couple more times. I was not the only person they asked. They asked quite a few other people, but nobody stepped forward. And I finally said in April that if we got down to the wire and nobody else stepped forward, that maybe I would. And the middle of May rolled around. We were getting close to deadline and nobody else stepped forward. So I said, okay, I'll do it.
Oops, sorry.
That's your call from the State House right now.
So here I am.
And so you're looking to represent, which I think one of the things that Michelle mentioned last week could have been in the pre-conversation we had before, and maybe not on TV, but ideally Windham 3 is Rockingham, Westminster, and Brookline.
Correct.
And ideally, it's always best to have a representation, to have at least one representative from each of the bigger towns. So you're looking to represent Rockingham.
And that
which
was
is
one of the
important.
reasons why Leslie and Michelle had asked me, is because I live in Bellows Falls. I'm from Rockingham, and therefore she would be replaced theoretically by a representative from the same town that she came from.
Right, and I think that's important for the public to realize that we need a voice. you know, from the town of Rockingham. I'm not saying Michelle
Right.
doesn't speak to Rockingham, but I think it's different if you actually live in the town and you just have a closer connection. So you guys have been door knocking like crazy.
Yeah.
How many people have you seen?
I couldn't say. I know Michelle thinks it's over 900, which is probably a good guess.
That's a lot.
And I would say maybe half the time people are home. The biggest issues I think we've seen are in the more rural areas. People were concerned about their real estate taxes, and less so in town. And the other one that I think we had 2 or 3 people were concerned with was they had children that had special ed needs, and they felt that those needs weren't being met, either because of the classification their kid was in, and I don't know how they classify that, or they didn't feel that the curriculum was good enough or proper for their kid. That I don't know much about how the education system's set up here, so that would certainly take some digging on my part to really get a better understanding.
What would you say the attitude of the people that you talked to were? Were they like really friendly, like, "Hi, Chris, come on in"? Or were they?
Almost all of them were pretty friendly.
Yeah.
And I should mention this. We stopped at one place in Gageville last week. The fellow couldn't come to the door. He was an invalid. He asked us to come in, which we don't normally do, and sat down. He was a retired minister from Milwaukee, and he had a very interesting take on life. His big concern was youth and youth suicide and youth sort of fitting into society, and it was really interesting to talk to him.
Yeah.
He met Desmond Tutu when he was in the hospital, and he had become friends with Desmond Tutu, and I thought, that's really impressive.
it's funny how
it's funny
in Vermont. It's sort of like
you never know who you're going to run into.
Exactly.
That's the cool thing. So, you got to know like what the public was looking for, like what their main issues are. What do you personally see as issues? I know there's a long list, right?
Yeah.
Maybe your top one or two.
I have to go along with the public in that certainly healthcare and the cost of healthcare. I'd really like to see another sort of hospital here. We really could use it. And education, both of those are really big concerns. And housing, those are 3 big ones. Let's see.
Well, you mentioned earlier about Medicaid.
Yes. Medicaid cuts are coming in January, I believe, 2027, which would put an extra burden on the state of Vermont. How are we going to handle that? How are we going to cover it, if at all? So there's an awful lot that we have to take into consideration.
Yeah, and you were mentioning that. I think I've heard you say this at other forums and stuff that you've done. Economic development. That's kind of what you're hoping to like sink your teeth into a little bit.
That I would certainly like to get more involved in that. And if offered a committee, I think I'd want commerce and economic development, because that's sort of where I think I could fit in best. We have an aging population. We have a younger population that's kind of slowly moving out of state. We really need to bring in business and people with those businesses who will then pay income taxes, buy houses, and pay real estate taxes, which will sort of, help the economy in this state. Plus, for those of us on a fixed incomes, sort of keep the costs down.
Right.
But to do that, you need housing, because if there's no housing, who can move here?
Right.
You really need a good healthcare system, and you really need a good education system. Because
You do.
If you don't have a good education system, why would you want to move here? So they're all tied together
Okay.
and interrelated, and you know, it's I don't think it's going to be easy to figure out what to do, but at least they passed a couple bills this year that I think it's a start, and we can see where it goes, and if things have to be modified, then we modify and continue on.
But conversations were at least started.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes, but we still at the same time need to be looking towards the future of 3 and 5 years down the road as to, okay, what do we have for projections? Not just putting out the fires right here, right now. We need to start looking.
Living in urgent quadrant versus actually being reactive, sort of, versus proactive.
Yeah.
And we have to get ahead of that curve.
Right.
I agree with you.
What do you see as the housing issues in the housing right now?
Well, again, I think they're pretty much the same as everybody. There's a need for affordable housing for middle-class people, but then we also have a lot of homeless or people that live on the margins that need to have some form of good housing. I don't have the answer.
Well, I've heard just in the last few days, and maybe it's been going on longer than this, but a lot of people are saying part of the problem is the housing that we have. We have houses that are built for maybe 4 or 5 bedrooms, and there's 2 people living in it, or there's 1 person living in it. So all that we have like a huge stock of beds, but we don't have a huge stock of houses.
There's there are large houses that could be broken up into smaller, and there's, I can't remember what it is now, but there is money and incentive out there for people to build an apartment or break their house up, and they can get, I think, up to $50,000 per unit for doing that. There's some, what's the word I'm looking for? Incentives there, but some of the space has to go to people that are like lower income or need are homeless. So that may keep some people from actually doing it, but at the same time, there is money out there to start breaking up some of the larger houses. This town has gorgeous architecture, and it's just absolutely beautiful houses. And you're right, there are some houses that are, you know, huge. They're 15 rooms, 3 stories, and 2 people live in them. And it would, in a way, it's kind of, I'm kind of sorry to see them broken up into smaller dwellings, but I have to look past that and say we need more housing, and how are we going to do it and sort of keep the character of the house, at least on the outside, and make it so that we can move more people in.
Or maybe incentivize building smaller houses that those 2 people could move into, and then open up that big space
They
for
talked
a family.
a little bit about that, downsizers, having apartments and condos for downsizers. Then families can actually come in and have those bigger houses.
Or in New York, it's basically no one has their own apartment. It's all shared living. It's and maybe some of these bigger places could become shared living situations where maybe 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 young people could live in
like they do in
houses.
an apartment in New York.
We have, when door knocking, we have run into more than a few places where you'll have an older couple and then a couple of people in their 20s or 30s, their children living there with them. So it's that may be different than 20 years ago.
Right, but maybe similar to what it was around World War II, when multi-generational, especially in farms, where there would be the grandparents, the parents, and the children,
So I'm guessing that this has been a big learning curve.
It's a learning curve, and it's going to continue. What can I say?
So kudos that you're willing to take it on, first of all. And you talked about the jobs that you did, and you've traveled a lot. So I think prior to the show starting, we talked a lot about you had jobs where you did a lot of troubleshooting and dealing with people. So I guess I'm putting the cart before the horse. I was going to say, what strengths do you think you would bring as a candidate?
I guess I did a lot of design reviews. I did a lot of startups with customers in their factories, and I had to deal with them in their facilities at various stages along the development of their projects.
Much like a bill, maybe.
Like a bill?
Like a bill, like starting a bill. I'm just kind of equating your strengths to what would happen. Like I think like
how
you
you
start a
would
bill.
operate it.
How do you operate it?
I hadn't thought of it in terms of
Yeah, sorry. It's the way my little brain works.
more in actually sitting in a committee and listening to witnesses and lawyers talking about whatever the bill is. At least in a committee, just like in a design review, I have the information in front of me. This is what we want for equipment. This is what we have for facilities, blah, blah, blah. I read it, I know it, I have UL guide, I have NEC guide. Maybe the customer, like IBM, had their own spec, which you had to know. And I ask the questions. I have the information, I can ask the questions. And it's up to the witnesses or the lawyers to be able to give me the answer. So in that kind of atmosphere, I feel very comfortable, and I think I'm good at it.
Well, I think that's what I wanted to make sure people understood, is that even if you don't have the background of politics, you've got background of dealing with people. At the end of the day, that's what everything is.
And I dealt with people from many different cultures. I spent time in Korea, Singapore, Borneo, Japan, China, Italy, and Germany, and
those are some spectrums, right? There's a whole list of
different. There's differences in all of them, and you have to learn how to be kind of diplomatic. So I think that's something I can do fairly well.
Are there any, like, what I don't want to say the term weaknesses, because I don't think that's the right term, but what would you say will be the biggest learning curve, perhaps, or maybe you don't know? Just
I don't think I know. It may be. There's certainly, you go up there. There's lobbyists for all kinds of things. What are you going to put up with that? Beyond that, I don't think I have any particular idea. I do believe that with freshman electees, you go up a little bit early, and I think there's a day or two of you sitting through, this is how we do stuff.
okay.
So that you have that in front of you. And there's procedures and how you address people. So there's just stuff ahead that I don't think there'll be any real issue with. You just have to know what to do.
That's right. And how now you have a website?
Yeah.
And that tells if people wanted to learn, like if they wanted to read about you more, or if they had questions, is there a way to email on the website?
Yeah, there's email spot on the website. Yes.
Okay. And I think we have
And please email me if you have any questions. I'm more than happy to try and answer them.
Do we have your email up there?
Yeah, we should at lumbergforvermont.com. I did.
That's the website. Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. My only last question was, that I had anyway. What are you kind of excited about? I mean, you must be excited about something.
Well, we'll see what happens. I just,
it's overwhelming. I know. I shouldn't be asked. I don't know. I'm just excited that that you are willing to go for it. That you are willing to put your kind of, see that there is a need and fill that need, because too many people just complain about things and the way they are, and you're going to actually try to make a difference. And kudos.
Well,
kudos.
I think if elected, I'll give it my all. What can I say? I just, I don't know how to do it any other way.
Well, I think you're being modest. And you've taken, it sounds like you've been actually ramping up for this for like 2 or 3 years now.
I probably got here over a period of time, just because I continued to get more and more concerned, I should say. Now I'm really concerned with how things are going on a national level.
Yes.
And that is certainly translating down to what's possible on the state level. And as a result of them holding back funds, the state has to try and figure out how are we going to handle it. It's become a real mess. So there's this real serious work that has to be done ahead of us, and it's not going to be easy.
That's great. Well, I'm glad you're running.
Thanks.
Me too. And the election, we have about a minute left, so I just want to make sure everybody knows when the primary is. The primary is April 11th.
August 11th.
August 11th.
The other A.
The other A word. I couldn't even read my own writing. August 11th. And
As an aside, Michelle was saying that all the time. Don't forget to vote in the primary, April 11th. No.
oh, that's funny. August
Yeah.
11th is the primary. Make sure you get out and vote because it does make a difference. Don't just assume because there are 3 people running for 2 seats.
Well,
So-
here's the thing. It's probably more important now than ever before when we really have some serious issues ahead of us, especially dealing with on a national level. But you have 3 contested races, at least on the Democratic side. Governor, you have Amanda Jim New and Allie Richards, and Lieutenant Governor, Molly Gray, and I can't remember the other 2. And then ours as well, for Windham 3, we have three people running for 2 seats. So it's really important to get out and vote in the primary. So
And that's the final. We're out of time.
Oh.
That's
all
what we're
the
going to
time
leave
we
you
have.
with. Get out
All
and
right.
vote.
Get out and vote. We'll see you next week on the feed.
My God.